Hey y'all, hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am back with you all. Give me 1 second here. Let's turn this down some. Let's get this going. All right. Hey y'all, hey, over here on Clubhouse. Let's go. Oh, let me take that off. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so excited to be the vessel that is back to speak with you all this morning. Y'all, if you are signing on and coming on to talk with me, go ahead and let me know where you're coming from. This is Tennille. I am the CEO of F2G Everything, the network, and I'm also your host for Morning Social every morning, Monday through Friday, 7:45 a.m. So if you're jumping on to listen to us, we're speaking about building generational wealth. And while I'm in the process of doing so, I hope that you've been in the process of doing so as well. If you are jumping onto Facebook, you have a chat. YouTube, you have a chat. F2gradio.net, you have a chat. And also over here on Clubhouse, you also have a chat, y'all. Let's chat it up. Talk to me. We are going to drop in where we're calling from and who we are. We're going to say good morning this morning, so I'm going to say good morning to you. And then we'll go ahead and start in prayer. And then we're going to switch right into this topic today. And y'all never know. Yesterday was hilarious. We were on afterwards on Clubhouse for almost an hour having a longer discussion than what we were on doing the broadcast. So listen, you never know who's going to pop in over here on Clubhouse. If you want to be part of that conversation, go to Clubhouse at f2g.network on Clubhouse, or you can just sit right here on F2G.radio on Facebook, or Faithful to God Network on YouTube, or just go to F2Gradio.net and you can listen in while you drive to work. That's what we're doing around these parts, all right? So, Father God, thank you. Thank you for this morning. Thank you for your power and your strength for us. Thank you for deciding that we were worth waking up this morning. Thank you, oh God, for putting your presence in our lives, oh Father. Thank you for allowing us to live another day to be able to worship your name and say your name and call upon you when we need help. We appreciate you, oh Father God, for all that you have done, all you will do. And God, if you decide that there's nothing else you want to do for us, we still say yes. We still will walk it out in your presence. We still will do what you called us to do, because we know that you are a God that will never leave us. We thank you, oh Father God, that as long as we have you with us, we know we are protected. We know we are loved. We know that we can honor you and that you will receive our honor. So God, today we ask that you cover over our finances. We ask that you cover over our households. We ask that you cover over our mindsets. Lord, let us be ready to receive, take notes, write down whatever we need to write down, write the vision, make it plain, work on our business statuses and all of our generational wealth planning on today, God. And we ask that you cover over us in Jesus' name. Amen. Y'all, I'm so excited to be back with y'all. This is a most wonderful time for me because we are able to actually be on and talk to each other about building generational wealth. So if you have I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a cold. If you have time to be able to jump onto Clubhouse and you know more about generational wealth, or you know how to start, or you've done it, make sure you jump on Clubhouse with us. Let's just have this common talk early in the morning to boost their day. That's what we do here on Morning Social. All right, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Do me a favor, go ahead and ping in if you're on Clubhouse, 5 or more people. If you're on Facebook, share this live with 5 or more people. Please don't share it in groups or on businesses. We don't want it to look like spam. Go ahead and share it on your page. We're going to go ahead and tag in some more people so we can bring in more. If you're on YouTube, you can share it on your page as well. If you're on the radio, you can actually share it onto your social media. All you do is click the little button at the bottom that says share the station, and you can share it from there. So let's go. I'm pinging in. I said 5 or more. I'm giving it. We're going to go with like 12. Hold on. Let me do my extra 3. So there's some people I need to see their faces this morning. Let's see. Haven't seen you, so I want you to come on in. Being extra this morning because I'm having the day. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's see here. Where are you? Haha. Yep, there you go. Got you. All right, we're going to see if our 2 guests that popped in, or 3 guests that popped in yesterday randomly pops in today. That's going to be interesting. All right, let's go. And how far apart they pop in? I'm just saying. Let's go here. All right. So now, I've gone ahead and I've gotten my people in. I hope you got your people in. We are live right now on f2gradio.net. And as you can see from the flyer, again, we're here every morning, Monday through Friday, 7:45 a.m. We are live on all social media platforms except for Twitter, I think, and Instagram right now. And give us a little time. We're working on that. Be on the lookout for all the things that we're doing great that's happening in the city. Our sound check, our writing course is coming up. We are doing a writing prompt on the 25th of February, where you'll be able to come in. It is a free writing prompt, you all. It's free, so you'll be able to register for that, and I'll make sure that you have that information. It'll be up on the f2gradio.net website. And then also, if you want to watch any of our interviews that we have had going on previously, any of our exclusive ones are on here as well. You can go right over to patreon.com/f2g for any of our on-demand watching. Okay, that'll be our classes that's coming up. You pick your tier. You can pick the free tier, or you can pick the tiers that's going to allow you to go into these classes, learn more, because when we know better, we do better. All right, so let's go. Let's get social, y'all. Let's talk about it. All right, so let's talk about generational wealth. And it's funny that God gave me this topic this morning, because that's something that I've been working on for a few years now. Is generational wealth, and I'm building mine with my son. So the reason why we're building together right now is because he's of age to be able to set his children up to go forward. Now, he has no children right now, but the plan is to have generational wealth set up that can pass down from generation to generation. That's what that wealth is. You're building not just money, but also you're building properties, you're building companies, you're setting them up to be able to receive. Now, within a generational wealth, you can also have businesses that are producing funds to be millionaires and billionaires, and those children can come in and work. Hear me, not just handing them something so that they can get lazy and decide, oh, well, it's just handed to me. No, make them work for it. Get them in there, get them started in a job, make them apply, make them interview, let them get on in there, apply for a position that they can work, and then get them in there to start working, and then you move them on up. Even if your intention is always to have them as CEO of the company, make them get in there and work. My son is the creative director of F2G Network. Yes, he is a founder. He is a co-founder of the company, of the network, but he is the creative director. So he has to work. I've had to work for everything that I have since I was 16 years old. I've been working since before then, but 16 years old, I started working with a different thought in mind. It changed again when I turned 25. As soon as I hit 25, I was like, you know what? I don't want to just leave this earth and not have anything, because I knew that I was being left without having anything as well, and I wanted to make sure I had something. Plus, I didn't want people to depend on I didn't want me to depend on other people. I should say it that way. I didn't want me to depend on other people for things. And I hated my situation, so I started to work towards stuff. And I would work on things, but because of, I'm going to say, mental health issues where I didn't believe in myself, I wasn't aware that I could get things done, it made me back off of things. I had dropped out of college. I wasn't trying to move forward. I actually had to stop and take a year on just working on me, going to counseling, getting myself together. And yes, y'all, black people do go to counseling. That's me right there. I'm a black woman, and I do go to counseling. So, and I've been in counseling ever since then. So it's worked for me. I went to counseling, and I got myself stabilized where I could be able to build myself up to do something next. Now, I mind you that at 25, I had a 4-year-old son, and I was making sure that I set myself up and that I set him up to be okay. I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it, or where I was going to do it from, or where I was going to get the money from it, but I just knew that I wanted to do something different. I really just wanted to do something different, and I did. I started to plan things out where my bank accounts were set up, because we don't always teach our children to have bank accounts. Well, I started young with my son. I started him when he got his first job at 13 years old or 12. He started working at a park district, and I started to help him by starting his bank account, and y'all, he still has that same bank account today that has transitioned from being a child's bank account with my name on it to being his own bank account, and now an adult bank account, for him just to have all of his stuff there. So it's the same account. He's been working it out. He moves things around. He knows about stocks. We're setting things up. Now for me, I wanted to make sure that I was setting him up to be able to be successful, but I needed to know how to be successful myself. So I started to work on me. I started to make sure that I had different things set up, like my own business. I started doing, I gotta laugh at me now. I was in my home, y'all, printing out business cards for people. I was doing programs. I straight was doing virtual administration work before there was a virtual administration work. I put it together. I was like, I had a quick mind. I was smart. I'm still smart. So I just I just made sure that I was putting things together. I knew that was supposed to happen. And it wasn't that I was trying to be anything I wasn't. I was just using the talents that I knew I had. I got in there and I was like, I print stuff out for me all the time. I print stuff out for churches all the time. I do my own business cards because I could not afford to do them through Vistaprint or through other companies that was out there. At the time, I had, again, a 4-year-old son, and I was making sure he had what he needed for school. And again, had my own apartment. That was my biggest thing. How I went into my own apartment, I didn't just like start saving. I took my tax money, and that's what I moved with. I decided I didn't want to be in my parents' house anymore, so I went ahead and got me a place. I took my tax money. I made sure that I had the apartment beforehand. I took it and I paid my security deposit down. I paid my rent, and I made sure that all of my apartments had heat and lights included. So I didn't have to worry about there's going to be an extra bill or extra money that has to come out. I made sure that my apartment would be taken care of because at least my heat was included. This apartment that I got was heat and lights included. I had to pay my own gas, but that was fine. It was like, okay, we're going to pay this. So my rent, I think at that time, was like $850. It was a 1-bedroom apartment on the west side of Chicago. And it was a nice apartment in a not so bad area. Like, it was the best, but it was not so bad. I didn't really worry about walking outside during the daytime. It was nighttime when I worried about being outside, and I was aware of my surroundings. So I would make sure that I was inside, make sure that I was taking care of business. I had everything set up for myself even then about putting in a schedule. So I knew what time I was going to start work in the morning. I knew what time I was going to go forth and take care of myself and take care of things. I knew what I was going to do. I went ahead and I set up a plan, okay? I set up a plan where I would get up and do the work in the morning, where I got dressed like I was going out the door. I still had a job, y'all, just to put that out there. I still had a job. I was working at a hospital. And so I would literally get up in the morning, set myself up, take my orders that I had from other people who were starting up businesses or doing things from home, and I would go ahead and start doing their business cards, and I would get together little flyers for them. And I was creating things on Word as a flyer. Like, before there was Canva, y'all, before there was Adobe, there was Word. So I would get on Word and I would go, okay, Microsoft Word, let's get on here and set up everything and print everything out. And I was printing on my little inkjet computer, and I would get everything together, package it up real cute, have it set up so that I can pick it up or I can drop it off to them, and I was ready to go. I had no car. Yeah, I was on a bus and footing it. I had no car then. I literally have no car right now, but in the works of trying to get one, and I've been working on that because there's a certain car that I want, and I won't settle for less. So because I won't settle for what I want, I'm taking my time to get it. I'm not in a rush. It's okay. I've been on the bus and in Ubers before, so it's okay. So I set everything up for me to be able to move forward. I gave my son a job. Even though he officially started his first job when he was 12, when he was 4 years old, my son helped me package things. I showed him how to do stuff, put gloves on, or we made sure his little hands was clean, and we would sit there and package all this stuff up. So everything mommy did, he did. I started to train my son to be an entrepreneur at 4 years old. So we got our work in, y'all. We made sure that we was set to get things paid for. I also was doing dual work. So listen, I was a hustler when it came to getting out there and getting stuff done, because my past included being around some hustlers in more of a negative sense. Sorry about that noise. Negative sense, but I really just wanted to have something for myself, and I didn't want to have to say that somebody else gave it to me. I wanted to do it myself, and that's still the way I am. Everything I want to have, I want to do it myself. I want it to come from money that I earned. I want it to come from whatever I put together, so I can say that I did it for me, because I'm not depending on what my stepfather or my mom did for me, because that didn't happen for me. I need to be the first one to set this up. I want to be the first. Okay, so here we are. Around about the time he was turning maybe 5 or going into 6 years old, I had started already with more clients. So I had clients that were coming back to me every single month, and instead of a subscription, because we weren't thinking about that then, I just had them set up for another month of, hey, do you need more business cards? Hey, while you're out, here are some places you can drop your business card. So not only was I giving them tips from Tennille and didn't even know I was giving them tips from Tennille, listen, I was also promoting for them to utilize the product that they purchased from me and got it out there in different places they never thought about. And then I turned around and sold them more cards. Yeah. So instead of me doing 250 cards, because that's what the little printer box would give me from Avery to be able to sell them, I turned around and I would buy like 2 or 3 of those boxes and just have them sitting there and tell them, you know, you use more cards this month than you did last month. So maybe you need to up that, and maybe you need to get 500 cards this time, and I'll give you $10 off. I was upselling, y'all. I was upselling, and we weren't even thinking about upselling while I'm working from home. And I got that money together that way. I helped a few businesses that are now flourishing in all of what they do, wedding businesses, people that actually did events and things back then. I helped them set up their event pluggers and all of those things. I did what I could do. I hustled them out. And then I started selling Avon, which was hilarious. Y'all, I moved from that 1-bedroom apartment. I moved from that 1-bedroom apartment into a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay, went to the 2-bedroom apartment, and while we were in the 2-bedroom apartment, it was like it wasn't, that neighborhood was a little bit worse than where I was, and I was excited about the 2-bedroom because I could get my son out of my room. Yay me! All right, yay me. Now by then, I got a car. My first car was a Ford Tempo. It was a '93. Am I right? Yeah, 1993 Ford Tempo, and it was red. Listen, so I called it Big Red because it was fun for my son. I'm like, go jump in Big Red. We're about to ride out in this Ford Tempo. Like, seriously, I was excited. So I got that. I spent money for the car myself. I actually saved, because I was still in that 1-bedroom apartment at the time. I actually saved money, and I bought, with my next year's taxes, I paid $1,300 for that car. It was a used car. It was a running car. One of our pastors at the time, his brother-in-law was a mechanic, so they went with me to buy this car. I talked to the guy about the prices, got him down from like $1,600 to $1,300, paid for the car, and then he took the car home with him, and he fixed on the car. We added in the extra parts. I paid him for doing that work, so I think I spent about $1,700 total on the car being fixed the way I needed it to be done, because I'm going to always get a used car checked out anyway. I'm going to get any car checked out, but that was that part. So I got that done, left from there. I had no license, just to let y'all know. They had just started driving my boyfriend's car at the time, and I was like, I don't have a license, but we parked the car. Well, my pastor's wife was like, let me know when you want to go get your license. Well, you got to get insurance. So smart things, right? Getting myself set. My son was with me along the way, so he understood. He knew what was happening. My brother had told me about how you can go to the currency exchange and get insurance from the currency exchange for the car. But you need a driver's license to do that, and he didn't tell me that. So when I got there, I'm talking to the young lady, and one thing that I know how to do is I know how to talk to people. So I got there, and I started talking to her, and I started letting her know what I was trying to do. But in the process, cracking jokes, and we're laughing back and forth. She was used to seeing me, so I kept talking to her. She said, okay, well, I need your information. I gave her the information, and she said, what about, your driver's license information? And I was like, oh, well, let me get that. And she was writing something down. I'm like, do you need to make a copy of it or anything? And she went, no. And I said, oh, okay, well, let me just read it off to you then. Well, I had figured out then that your driver's license is nothing but the same number as your ID with the letter moved from the front to the back. So I just switched it around. I read it off to her, dropped the letter in the back. She wrote it down and it went through. When the insurance went through, it's still attached to me because that number is attached to my social security number. So I went ahead and got my insurance. I got everything set up. I gave her money. And for those of you all that are like, oh my God, you lied and you swindled. I ain't lied. That it would have been. And it actually is my driver's license number. Stop it. No, but yeah, I did swindle that. Let's just be honest. So I went ahead and did that. I got my insurance. I put it on my car. I made sure it was active. As soon as that insurance was active, I was told by my pastor's wife, do not drive this car until we get your license. And I went, yeah, of course I was hard-headed. I had to go to work. I was still working at the hospital. So after I would get my work done in the morning, I had to be at work at like 9 o'clock. I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning doing all of my administration work at 7:30 or 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning. Got to take my son to school and drop him off before I head back to do what I need to do. So here I am now, like get in the car, drop him off at school, which wasn't that far away, and then I would drive to work. Go to work, get myself in. I'm doing work in the hospital. I'm doing administration work there. So I would get to the hospital, get going, work in 3 different offices there. Now I got to get my hustle on here. So I'm kind of telling people about my business while I'm at work. If I hear somebody talking about something they need, hey, here's my business card. You can give me a call. So I'm still building, y'all. I'm still building my clientele. I'm still trying to get money. And I wasn't charged a whole lot, so it was petty money, but it was helping out my household. And I was trying to put money away because I wanted to start a bank account. At the time, I didn't have one. I wanted to start a bank account that would work for me. I started my bank account. I got it going. And everything that I learned, I started to teach my son differently because if I struggled with it, I wanted him to know better. If I didn't understand what I was doing, I wanted him to know better. If I couldn't get it going, I wanted him to know better. And so, good morning, Kelly Webb over here on Clubhouse. So I wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for me to be able to build something that he could have. But I needed to take the steps. Some of us want quick money, so we borrow money, and I've done it before. Don't think I'm knocking you. I've borrowed money from companies. I've had loans taken out. I've accepted money from people. I've borrowed money from friends when I needed to, but I try to pay everybody back because that's something I don't want to do. And Kelly will tell you, I bugged the heck out of her. If I borrow $10, I'm like, Kelly, don't I owe you money?
A mess.
She's like, it's $10. Leave me alone. I'm like, let me send you this $10. I just hate to owe anybody anything, and the Bible tells us, owe no man anything but to love them. That's it. That's the only thing we're supposed to do is love them. I can love you from over here or from a distance, but I don't want to owe you anything. So I make sure to pay back my debts. Okay. So and so I have, and if you think that I owe you something and you're listening to this show, please don't go to people and go, she lying because she owed me something. Talk to me. Remind me what it was. Let's see if I actually still owe it to you, because I've learned that people make mistakes and they'll think that I owe them something, and then it turn out, nope, I actually paid you. I had no problem with that. But yeah, so we look at all of those different things, right? So at the time I had the car, and I'm driving the car, I drop him off, I go to work, I get myself together, I'm promoting my business while I'm there, and then after that I go forward in working on the next things that I have to do, right? So the next things that I have to do, I am hey Brian Bird over here on Clubhouse. So I'm gonna wait 1 second. Y'all give me a 5-second break. Hold on. The reason being is I'm waiting on Raven to pop on here. I just want to see if it's gonna happen, y'all. I'm just saying. Brian Bird is in the building. Yesterday he got all riled up and left. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
What's going on? I'm trying to see if Red's gonna pop up too.
Listen, I'm telling you, we are working some things out. Um, I think that there's a connection there with the spirit between them and him and Raven within the spirit. I think that there's great things that's going to be flourishing from them being around each other, and it's just a massive. If y'all got a chance to listen to them the day they prayed and prophesied, it was a massive moment for us. So yeah, we gotta keep moving though because she ain't jumped in. She might be sitting there talking about wait. So we just we gonna keep it moving. All right. So after getting the car and having it where I could go back and forth and drop my son off at school, and I'm getting more business in on while I'm at work, and I'm pushing my administrative skills across the board now. I'm doing them at home. I'm actually putting them to work for other companies. I'm taking phone calls for them. I'm setting them up for the next thing they need to do. Now, mind y'all, again, I am like 26 years old doing this. I'm 26. I'm trying to get this going. I had nobody to teach me how to be an entrepreneur. I had nobody to teach me how to work business accounts and credit. Nobody taught me any of that stuff. Literally, I'm being Holy Spirit led. I'm being taught by myself. I'm working things out. And I want to make sure that in the process of me working things out, I can get it done, right? So I go from there, and I am now moving into this 2-bedroom apartment. I moved into a nice 2-bedroom apartment with my son, got him his own little room, and got my stuff, and I focused in on him, as I always do when there's something like that. I went ahead and said, okay, it's time now to go forward and get his stuff done to make sure that he's good. Good morning, Amber J on Facebook, and good morning, Robert on Clubhouse. Thank you, son. And so we got everything together, going from there. And I'm like, okay, so now I got my apartment together. I got my little car. I got my little business that I'm hustling from. I got my actual job that's making money and it's coming in. I started to put money away, and then we had a whole situation where I ended up losing my job. I was working for CPS. Because I went from the hospital to working for CPS. Some things happened at the hospital, and I was like, I gotta go. So I got to CPS, and I'm working for CPS, and I'm working around my son, and I'm making sure that I'm around him more, but in the process, still trying to do my business. So I started to grow my business at the time of doing administration, and when I left from there, I had the bank account I wanted. I had everything set up, but they started laying us off. So when I got laid off, that left me in a pickle. I'm like, I just moved here. I just got this apartment. Like, I'm paying my rent, but it's not like I paid it up 6 months. I'm struggling. I'm doing every little thing. I had to buy furniture and everything. I moved from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom. This child needs a bed. Like, I need to make sure that all this stuff is done. And so I put myself probably in a strained end by getting a credit card. I had already had one when he was born that I maxed out because I didn't know about credit. And so I started trying to pay that one off. I think I ended up paying it off later on in life, but I didn't pay it off when it was supposed to be. So, of course, it accumulated and probably doubled. Who knows? So now we're working on this new credit card that I got, and I'm getting the things that he needs, but this time I'm paying attention to payments, and I'm learning that you don't pay just the minimum. Make sure you put $10 extra. Go ahead and make sure that that's good, and then you keep yourself on top of your payments. Okay, go from there. I ended up working for Target. I started thinking about how I wanted to plan this out because I needed to grow, and in order for me to grow, I needed to get more and more into what I was doing. So my growth started at, okay, I'm coming in as a clerical worker, as a crew member. I'm working clerical. I need to jump from clerical to HR team member quick. I did that. I was supposed to be 90 days in before I got the promotion. I learned everything I could, and I watched everybody that I could while I was at work. I learned how to do all of their payrolls and everything from watching the woman do it that was sitting next to me. I was the first clerical team member in Melrose Park that could do anybody's payroll, that can set up the management schedules. I learned everything that I saw the team leads doing so that I can be of an asset to that company. That way I knew I had a job, I needed to be kept in that job, and I was going to move forward. 90 days in, before 90 days, let's say 60 days in, corporate came in and offered me the position as HR team member. They said we can't officially give it to you until after your 90 days, but you're already doing the work. As soon as you hit 90 days, we're going to switch you over and pay you more. Not a problem. I'm not even going to argue with y'all about that. But while y'all doing that, this next 30 days, I'm going to learn everything I can about HR team lead. Because I'm not going to be a team member long. They put me as a team member. I worked that position for 4 months. I went to HR team lead. They couldn't find a position for me, so they created one. I became the first staffing and development team leader for Target in Melrose Park. They made the position. It was a brand new position for Target, period. There was another person that had it at the one that's over further west on the north side. And so we had that position where I staffed the store. I literally set everybody up for training beforehand. I made sure they were good. We were working towards getting our next things done. And then after that, we went from there. Now, I'm building myself up in the process. I'm still working. I'm still hustling my business. I'm still saving money. I'm still putting things together. So in the process of putting all of that stuff together, we went from there, and I went to working for I did that for like 3 or 4 years, and then after I left from there because they didn't want me to move up, so they found a way to get rid of me, which was not a problem. You got rid of me right after I moved into a bigger 2-bedroom apartment. Y'all listen, when I tell y'all that God will sustain you, I was scared out of my mind. I just moved me and my child into this bigger place. I just went from paying $850 to almost $1,000 in rent for an apartment, again, that was heated and lights included. I paid my gas, but it was in a better area. And I was like, okay, I just got here. Y'all letting me go over craziness because you don't want me to excel. That's okay, because I got one black woman in corporate. I helped her get there. And she was trying to pull me with her, and they cut it off. But I was like, it's fine. Not a problem. Let's go. What happens after that? I started working for Comcast. I started to learn the different ins and outs of Comcast. So those checks started looking real good to me. If I can upsell, or if I can get on the phone and use the gift that God gave me to talk, I can make this money. I started bringing home more than I was getting paid at Target. I started doubling my checks. My commission checks were almost $1,500 every 2 weeks. That's commission outside of what I was already making. Because when I got on the phone with somebody, and letting you off until I sell you something different. And I will make you sound like it was your idea. Okay? But I made sure that when I did this, I also had them in mind. I'm not going to sell something to an elderly person because I can. I'm going to sell them what they need because I want you to be happy and not complain about it. And I want you to keep that because guess what? Every month for the first 3 months that you have it, I get commission. So that's the way that worked for me. I started to use that money. I kept myself at that place. I went on with that place. I ended up getting sick, didn't understand what was happening, had to leave my job on medical leave. Then my sister passed away. Oh, then all hell broke loose in my life. Because I lost the only person that cared about me. Outside of my son and her kids, I should say. I lost her. She was gone. This was my best friend, literally my best friend. And she was gone. So now I'm mentally strained. I don't know what to do. I can't seem to catch hold to that grip that I know I can go and go. I stopped working, y'all. I was doing Avon at the time. I had a whole store on my back porch. I had it set up. I was a team lead with them. I had my hustles going. I was still doing my administration business at the time. I lost my sister and it was like I had nothing left. And I just stopped. I went from that whole big setup of I got this. I mean, I'm selling baskets for $60 a pop, and they're going like hotcakes. They are flying. I'm getting them wrapped up, getting them out. People are picking them up at my home. I was taking chances, like, come get it. I'll meet you outside. Here you go. I had this going where I could have had my wealth bucket, as I was calling it then. My wealth bucket set up. My bucket was going to be overflowing. I was ready for the bucket to overflow. My sister passed away and everything around me just stopped. I shut down and I didn't know how to get myself back up. So I, again, was going to counseling, had stopped counseling by then because I thought I was good. And then I had to find my way back. Well, something happened with my son and he had a mental breakout after his aunt passed. And I had to work on that. So now I have to make sure that I'm alert enough for him. But in the process, I'm missing out on what I'm supposed to be doing. So the enemy had won in that one. I ended up losing the place. I ended up homeless. We were out there. Literally at that time, I was, let me see, staying with an ex, and that wasn't working out. And I was like, this is not a good place for me to be. I'm trying to be spiritually connected, and here I am fornicating and can't get my mind right because you're still adding these other dead spirits or bad spirits onto what you're already doing. So I ended up leaving from that situation, moving in with a friend who wanted me to be out there with her. So we're out in the streets. I should be at home. I'm out here in these streets because I'm a quote air quote bad girl, because that's the club I was part of. And so I'm hanging out with them and running around the city and acting up and showing out. Now mind you, I still didn't drink even then, but I was just a rough, angry person. So I'm caught up in that, and I'm still putting my wealth building on the back burner. Now we didn't use everything that's in our bank account because I used everything I could do to stay in that apartment. So I've lost literally everything. All of my stuff is now in the storage. We go from there, and I find this church, and I'm now at this church. I end up in this church. There's some story behind that, but I end up at this church. Had to leave that friend alone because I had to separate, and God was moving me to something. Got to the church, ended up staying in the church. That's where I found God for real, understood who he was, understood what the prophetic was, and got ordained as a minister. Straight there. Literally. God had to be like 4 months. All this happened in 4 months of being there. Got there and started working with this amazing pastor. I want to give a shout out to Kay Monique and her husband, Pastor Chris. Y'all are the bomb still today. Okay? They literally showed me how to love myself again, how to get myself back in order. Started working with me on generational wealth. Started showing me how businesses flow. She is literally your possibilities powerhouse. If you've never heard of her, Kay Monique is her name. That's Kmoneak. She will jumpstart you. Make sure your businesses are running, that you know how to get going. She is a three-time number one best-selling author. The chick is bad, let me tell you. Okay, so I got with her. She was y'all, some people call her first lady. No, she was the lady. So we were at their church, and we were doing all of this, and we ended up switching from there to the church. Ended up closing at the time because it was just way too much stuff going on, and people weren't doing what they were supposed to do to keep it open. So we shut it down. Shut the church down. Now I'm back thinking I'm back homeless because that was the best place for me. Nope, I'm moving to my next. Had to change my thinking, people. Had to change my thinking. Ended up staying with a minister that came from that same church just for a short while. Found us a coach house that we can move in. Now there's no bedrooms, y'all. Literally, I'm looking at my son when he wake up, and he looking at me when I wake up, and we like, this ain't gonna work. I don't want you staring me in my face. We went from there to, okay, it's time for me to get back on my hustle. When I said I started pushing like never before, I started Glorious Works of Elegant Designs. I was doing weddings. I was doing my business stuff all under the same name because I didn't know any better. I had everything set up where I was hustling my jewelry that I was making. I was making business cards again. I was doing flyers again. I was running around doing a whole lot. God captured me. I started dancing for the kingdom, and I had to shift a little bit with that. But I started to work that thing out. I ended up going back to school. Y'all, I had already, I left something out back in a couple of years before then. I had graduated from college. I went and took on a course, and I graduated from college, which is how I ended up at the hospital with the job. Okay, so now I'm going back to school, and I want to go and get my bachelor's. So I started doing that. I started traveling. I'm now getting, I prayed, y'all. I prayed, and I said, hey, God, I want you to show me how to get to go on these places with no money. I'm going to take a trip. I started speaking things into existence and not understanding that God would manifest for me what I said. Still didn't know that part. And I'm sitting here saying, I'm going to go to Florida for the first time, and I'm going to get on a flight, and I'm going to take my first flying trip. And what happens through the school? I ended up going to Ohio, and then I had to go to Iowa, and then I had to go to Florida for school trips that I didn't pay for. But I still had time to be able to do everything I wanted to do while I was out there. Y'all, I took a walk, and you can see it on my Facebook page somewhere. There's a big heart that says, Jesus loves me. It's in the sand. I wrote it as I was walking across the beach in Florida. And I kept telling people on social media, I'm out with my husband. It's me and the Lord alone. You know, we do that when we sing when they ain't got nobody. It's me and the Lord alone. I'm just saying. So I did all of that, and then when I got that, I came back and I started working on my next. I moved in with my sister Eve. Amazing. She would not let me stay in an apartment. We had a whole mold situation or something, and I ended up in the hospital. And she had me come home with her while they were fixing the apartment. She never let me come back home. I stayed with her. I ended up going from there into an apartment that was given to me by some pastor friends of mine. Got there and look at this. Okay, got there, y'all. Raven is in the building. Raven is now on with us, and Brian just popped off. So we literally went from there to that apartment. I had my apartment and my job in the same building. They offered me a job at their daycare. I was working the daycare. This is the same daycare that my son was attending when he was little. I started to work that job, and I was inside of that building. What happens? Because of a Facebook post off of something that was taken the wrong way that I put on Facebook, they fired me from my job, and I lost my apartment all in the same weekend. I had just started building, y'all. I was getting it together, like, for real. I said messy stuff off of Facebook. Shut all of that down, had to keep moving, cannot play around. But by then I was just irritated. I'm tired of stuff happening. I'm still trying to get over my sister's death. I'm still working on this other thing, and I got a lot of stuff going on. And I now have this child of mine who is going into the 12th grade. No, not the 12th. He was going into high school. He was in 8th grade. And I'm like, it's time for me to adjust. He's 12 years old. It's time for me to adjust. So I go ahead and I started living in our car. And I had him with me in the middle of a winter storm. And we were in a 91 Chevy Caprice. This bucket car. Y'all know the one with the big old trunk. I was loving Big Blue. It's time for us to go on out here and just go. So we were out in Blue living in this car. Everything about me was work on my son. We lived in that car for almost 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Until the snow got really bad. The car broke down. Just stuck in a really bad storm, and I had to take him to my mom's house. And I was like, I'm not going up there. Let me go ahead and leave you there. My mother begged me to come stay with her. She was like, you cannot sleep in this car. That's not going to work. I ended up staying with her. I sold the car because it wasn't working anymore. Made money off of that car. Put that money in an envelope. Gave it to my mother and told her, do not give this back to me until I'm ready to move into my apartment. You can't tell Mama lock down that, because Mama lockdown will lock you down. You ain't getting nothing. I don't care if you're hungry. You just gonna be hungry. Go in there and fix you something. That's the way my mama worked. Went from there. Stopped doing that. Started just working towards trying to get everything I could get done because I wanted out of that house so bad. Y'all, I worked until we got into a situation where it was so horrible. I couldn't take it anymore. And I ended up moving in with one of my friends who was yelling at me about how I should have came to stay with her. Got there, found out that her son was selling drugs in her building and she didn't know it. Got into a fight with him. I'm going to be real transparent with this because there's no way to go around anything and ain't no point. Got into a fight with him because he wouldn't stop smoking around my son, and he caught himself trying to fight. And so I had to show him who I was real quick and show my son that I'm going to defend you no matter what, against man, woman, dog, child. I don't care. We're going to do this. So ended up getting into a fight with him, which his mother, I thought was going to hate me, told him, if she put her hands on you, it's because you did something. Well, yeah, he stepped up in my face, and I just had to show him something real fast and show my son not to be scared. And I did that, and we ended up leaving because I didn't like the atmosphere, because you're still here in this house with me. So now I had to leave from there, and I went to stay with my god sister. I got tired of staying with people, y'all. It got really, really horrible at a point to where I went ahead and just said, forget it. I put us in a shelter. Y'all, I put us in a shelter, and I didn't want to go. But I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I've heard about shelters, how bad they can be. I kept my son close to me. Did y'all know that in the state of Illinois, in Chicago especially, there are no shelters that you can go to as a family where you can keep your 12-year-old son with you? They put 12-year-old boys in men's shelters. You have to separate and put your child inside of a men's shelter alone, and then you go to another shelter. I wasn't playing that. I wasn't going. I got the 10 South kids at the emergency shelter, was talking to them about it, and was like, we'll stay on the street. We'll stay on the street before we do that. I will never allow you to set my son up like that. This ain't no thug child. This child is a church kid. That ain't what we doing. He ain't finna be fighting nobody, and I'm not there to protect him. That's not the way that works. Like, y'all are setting these boys up. So, and mind you that in those shelters, they don't do background checks. So you don't know who you got your child in there with. That's not what you do. So what I did was I talked to a young lady who pulled me aside, and she said, hey, well, the only way you can keep him with you is if he has a medical condition. It has to be bad enough for him to keep it. Well, when he had his medical break, they evaluated him, and they tried to say that Brandon had ADHD. Okay? Now, normally with ADHD children, they're screamers, hollerers, they fight. You never know if they're going to throw a tantrum. That's what they're normally used to. But they're not used to being around children that's been under the hand of God, right? So what I did was I took my son, I went to the school. I never said he had ADHD. Let me put that out there first. I never said it. I went and got the paperwork from the school that they had him marked down as having ADHD. I brought it back to the shelter. I gave it to them, and when they said, oh, he has ADHD, I said he was diagnosed with ADHD. Did y'all catch that? I never said he had it. I ain't claiming it. I said he was diagnosed. I didn't lie. He was. Here's the paperwork to prove it. Here's all of the actual paperwork for y'all to see that he's been through counseling and all that stuff, because he had to do that to go back to school. So I gave them everything that they needed. God already knew what was going to happen, and that was an open door for me to use that to keep him with me. They left him with me. My son stayed at the emergency shelter with me for 9 days. When they found us a place, there was one place that was on the south side of Chicago, transitioned from west side to south side, got into the shelter. When we got into the shelter, we had a one room. We're back in a one room where I wake up and look at him, and he wake up and look at me. And we're now together, though. I got a lock on the door. I can make sure we good, and I can keep you safe. During that process, what did his mama start doing? Hustling again. It's time to get back to this, because it's time to get back to what I was doing. It's time to get us back into an apartment. It's time for us to get our businesses going. What did my son start doing? Rapping. Didn't even know the child could rap. He started writing his lyrics down, putting his words on paper, doing his music. I knew he was playing drums at the time. Didn't even know he had started playing the keyboard. He started doing music from there. We're doing shows. We're still living the life that we were living before. We went out and ministered. People were picking us up from the shelter. I'm going to minister and dance over here. We're getting called out, he and I, because we dance together sometimes, out at different conventions and stuff like that. People were picking us up from the shelter, taking us to these places, dropping us back at the shelter. People were picking us up, taking us to church, dropping us back at the shelter. We were getting the people in the shelter permission to stay out longer than what we were supposed to be back in at 10. I'm going to need to be able to come back in at 12. I want to take 13 people to church with me. Is that okay? They trusted us. So they let me do that. We got the church to sign off on it. We brought a van. We piled up 13 people, took them to church with us. Youth night, got their kids out there, had my son performing at this place. We all kicking it. There go free ride back to the shelter. Y'all, in the process, I'm still making money because my son is getting paid from this too. So we're putting his money in his bank account, and I'm putting my money in mine. I worked that program. I got another job. I was doing security. I kept going from there, and after that, ended up getting a one-bedroom apartment. It's like the cycle started over again. We back on this one-bedroom. It's in a not so good neighborhood, but a nice building. We move into there. I start working to everything. I got the assistance that they needed for us to have to be able to move forward. They gave me my paperwork, moved from there a year later into a 2-bedroom apartment. Left from there, writing this back. Left from there, moved into from that 2-bedroom into a hotel because I wanted to move, and this lady was just causing too many issues, and it was time to go. So I moved into a hotel. We moved from the hotel to the Airbnb up the street, y'all. There was an apartment building that we wanted to be in, but everywhere that God allowed us to stay was on either side of this building. Let me tell y'all, we walked past this building. No matter where we were going, we had to walk past this building to get there. So finally, I stopped my son and said, put your hand on the building. We're going to do what we know how to do. We prayed over the building until we said, we're going to be in here. This is what we're going to do. And we started to do that. We started praying over that building that we're going to be in here. The paperwork is going to come through. I want to be in here. I need to apply. Y'all, I hadn't applied for this place. They called me. The building management called me. And I never put in the application. I hadn't even found out how to put the application in. She said, we have an apartment available. We need you to come. Y'all, I'm in my condo right now. 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. I'm working my business from inside of here. And this is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to see the water. Everything I put on my list that I wanted is everything God gave me. And now we're building this generational wealth. My son had to see how the process went so we can get to it. We won't waver from this process anymore. We're staying firm to who God is. We prayed our way through it. We stay firm to it. And we're going to keep on building. Right now, we are owners of our own personal companies. He has Brando Productions, where he does graphic design. He also has Beast No Music and Beast No Official. That's all his music stuff that he's working on. We have F2G Network, which consumes of the F2G Radio, F2G Entertainment, F2G Apparel. We are still building generational wealth because everything I build, there's going to be a position that my grandchildren are have to come in at a base level and work their way up. No, you're not getting handed anything. You're going to work for it. Not only that, I have Tennille's Treasure Chest. It's a jewelry business where right now I'm selling $5 jewelry through paparazzi, but I will be starting my next building. Kelly, I'm not even starting with you and Brian right now. Y'all are gonna get me going. So I am working that out because that's my hustle and I love jewelry. So I'm back making my jewelry. Kelly told y'all I could not lay down. I stayed up all night just making bracelets because I got into my old habit of work throughout the night. Then I have my melanin dye makeup, which is a representation of black people. Everything I make, it looks like us, it feels like us, it acts like us. Something, representation matters. I got that going. We're working that thing out. Y'all understand that we have so many businesses going on within that I took F2G and my whole executive team now all are entrepreneurs in their own right for what they've been doing and that they called was supposed to be something fun for them. They are all now successful business owners. Kelly has a candle company. Amber has a honey company. She is a black beekeeper. Her and my god baby. And they have a honey company that's out. Brandon has Brando Radio, and he's been pushing his other company. We're waiting on him to launch something new soon. I'm not sitting here just holding that back on me. I'm building up leaders in their own homes that's going to push out more for their children. So generational wealth is coming. My god baby is the pre-CEO. We call him that now. He is learning to do my job so that when he gets older, he can take over F2G Radio. F2G Network, F2G Entertainment. That baby sits at the front of the table like a boss. And when we talk, he's listening. He's 5, y'all. He's 5. And he sends Kelly's emails. Don't make no sense. And Kelly responds. I mean, she just indulges this. So this is what I mean by building generational wealth. We're going to keep building because I have a millionaire mindset. And my plan is by the end of this year, I will have my first million in my savings account. Hear what I said? Not in my check-ins, in my savings. Just sitting there chilling. And I have my extra in my checking while I'm working off of that. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be stacking and stacking and stacking. So wait for the books to come because they're coming out. Wait for the classes to come because they're coming out. This is where we are. So now that I have my crew on here, y'all, I done told my story. I told y'all I would do it. I've already told y'all my story. That's where we are right now. I want to hear from y'all. On Clubhouse, y'all, they sending these hearts, but Brian didn't bother me. Brian and Raven are on here together. It went a different way this morning. I think I was like, stop messing with them. But it ended up where you jumped off Brian and she jumped on after Robert jumped on. And then you just jumped back in. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. So, I want to ask you all, since you're on the platform, first of all, good morning, Raven. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Kelly. And I'm going to let y'all respond. How are y'all doing today?
Girl, listen to your story. I'm doing good, but
I know, right?
I'm good. I'm going to work, but I'm good.
Amen. That hustle. I get it. Brian, Raven, how y'all feeling this morning?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Raven just woke up.
Mm-hmm.
You already know.
I'm ready for the weekend. I just found out Monday's President's Day, so that's good. I think I'm off. To God be the glory. So that 3-day weekend finna bless me.
It is. Yes, you are off because you work for CPS, right? So yeah, you're off Monday. I forget it was President's Day. You definitely are. Y'all, I have been promising to tell that story for the longest, and a lot of things I don't say because, of course, I'm writing a book, so I don't put a lot of it out there. But there's a lot of things that I don't want to relive. So, in the process of me moving into what God is calling me to do for 2023, I have to be extra transparent. So, in the process of that, taking care of everything and also getting the story out there, I want to be able to talk to you all about building generational wealth because I believe that if you put your mind to it, you can go from $0, period, to making money. There's certain things that you can do that don't require for you to start up with money. And even though it's a hustle until you can get to your trademark. So, what do y'all think about just starting, or do you feel like you need to have education before you start to get your business going? Raven, Kelly, I see Kelly unmuted.
Yeah. No, you don't. You don't have to have the education. Some, one thing I could say that my mentor tells me all the time. Sometimes the education that you get for certain things that you're going into don't give you everything you need anyway. So either way it go, your experience is going to always teach you more. Me being a publicist, I don't have my degree in public relations. And me being a journalist, I don't have my degree in journalism. I have my degree in forensics and in nursing. So for me, my I guess book education came from for those two careers. Like I needed those for real. But as far as what I'm doing now, no, that I actually say God taught me everything I received. I got, from Him the guidance, and that's it. The music a little loud to me.
The music on here?
Yeah, it's a little loud. Sound like you're yelling a little bit.
Hold on, cause there shouldn't be no music playing. Hold on. There you go.
I was wondering, I'm like, am I in the Twilight Zone? I hear music and stuff. I'm asking my brother.
I'm glad y'all said something because we can't hear them.
I didn't want to
get like
I was over here vibing a little bit, man. I was going to try my hand at rapping a little bit.
I mean, yeah, the music was perfectly fit, like for everything we doing. I'm like, it's just a little loud. Just turn it down a little bit.
Wait, but
I mean, the way these rappers out nowadays, I could have made $1 million hit right there.
you gonna mumble rap your way through.
Look, go ahead, go get that quick Grammy.
Right.
Grammy, we can all be there.
The funny thing about this is that I can't hear the music y'all over here because we're on air, so I can't hear nothing y'all was hearing. I only can hear y'all.
Oh Lord, I was over here talking.
It sounded like you was getting ready to do a movie talk over or something. I was like, okay,
Right?
she didn't tap into some other generation wealth, but she don't even know about it. I'm like, I'm gonna let the woman of God speak. I'm like, all right.
I mean, we was definitely vibing, but that the other part of me had to kick in. Like, hold on, I need to hear exactly what you're saying.
Right. Oh my gosh, that is so crazy because I'm like on air we don't hear nothing. So even the people listening, y'all the only ones that can hear that.
No, you can hear it on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all hearing it. I hear nothing at all.
Oh well, we don't hear nothing now.
Okay, so it's like a lot of times when you're in a radio station, because I used to my former church, we did a radio show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times in your headphones, you don't hear nothing but yourself, and there be music playing.
Oh wow.
You wouldn't know.
Oh my gosh.
So that happens.
Oh, CB, I'm gonna have to talk to him and be like, bruh, how am I doing this and this and this? Because I thought it was off. I'm like, oh yeah, we just turned it down. Look, no, we didn't. All right, I learned my lesson. We good. All right. Well, at least we know that Robert will try to rap at any moment.
Get it in.
Yeah, it's gonna be straight sound effects though, but it's gonna be $1 million hit.
Listen, it will be. Y'all are funny. Anybody else got an answer to that question?
Can you repeat your question one more time?
Do you believe that you need to have the education to start your business, or can you just go ahead and start?
In some cases, it takes education, but in most cases, it takes willingness, openness, and opportunity, and preparation. Preparation doesn't always mean education. Preparation means you did some things and some work just to to preparation, opportunity meets each other, and then now you have a business. But yeah, I actually am an entrepreneur. I have been for 9 years. I have worked a 9 to 5 in 9.5 years. I actually run not one but 2 successful businesses. Yeah, and I kind of got cussed out in my dream yesterday from Jesus about one of my businesses, about me doing some things with it. But all I'm saying is you have to literally have the open mind though. The problem is a lot of times we make a business based off of our likes and our wants and our desires. But sometimes God will give you a business based off of a need. And sometimes we have to press into the need of the people and the things around us. And then there's a business created. I think people have a notion of, I have to really love what I do in order to have a business. Everybody didn't love what they did to make a business. Some people just had saw a need that was needed and then provided the need and they became wealthy. And then others love what they did and then they made a business. It depends on what God is doing, and this is why it's so important to listen. I remember a story of Mattel, the guy who made Mattel. He had a dream of a toy company and this thing in his head, and he one day woke up and did it. I don't think he loved toys. I just think he dreamed something one day, saw a need, and then he put it out there. And now Mattel is known across the freaking country and the world because of a dream, opportunity, and preparation. So that's it.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in here. I agree with both of them, but but my main thing is know your market as well. You can have a good idea, but if you don't know the market, you can mess yourself up. So I do believe that you should educate yourself, have some type of education on the market that you're about to walk into. Like I know for me, for the businesses that I'm getting ready to start, I know my market because I've been in those marketplaces already. But if I wasn't in those marketplaces, I'd just be walking out here blind. So before you start a business, study your market. Study your market. You can have a dream. I do believe that. Have a dream, create it and throw it out there. Cool. But if it's gonna be something like that, or if it's gonna be something like in real estate or in the automotive industry or something like that, you need to know your market. So learning your market is a huge thing for you to start your business.
That's amazing. I love that we get a chance to talk about several things. Yes, I am a believer for myself that you can start a business without the education, depending on what the business is. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want you to start a medical business and you don't have the education to do that, and you over here just messing around with people's health. That would be a problem. I mean, you just out here just like, I'm winging it. No, we don't want to do that. But if you are starting a business like virtual administration, something that doesn't require for you to have a degree, but you are educated enough to spell and make sure that you can check your spelling or use Grammarly, stuff like that, different apps that help you. Yeah, go ahead and get started because you want to start something so you have something motivating you to do your next. Brian, did you have something for that?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. What? Wait. We're going to work on this. All right. So, now the question I have about building generational wealth. When we talk about building generational wealth, we are not talking about that you had your own bank account and so you had $250 in it, and when you passed on, you left that $250 to your kids. We're talking about billions of money, property, businesses, stuff that you can leave to them to continue to work and plow the soil with. So in the process of getting that, how do you feel like you should start with your children? Because if you have a child, I'm trying to figure out the easiest way to say it. How do you set your child up for success when they're young at age? That's the way I should say it. Everybody got quiet. Boy, ain't no buttons coming up.
Well,
All right, Brian.
Well, here's the thing. I work around kids, so I'm not a father yet. Amen. I just want to throw that out there. I want to be integral and honorable. I don't want nobody hearing me like, he ain't a parent. Yeah. From my perspective, I believe the first step is to train your children in understanding what work is and understanding what values the family has. And because a lot of times we think handing like anything inheritance is to the children. That's the only thing we do. But if we don't teach them how to manage, we don't teach them how to steward, they won't see the value in what the generational wealth is going to do for their life. They'll drop the ball and then they go right back to square one. So I really believe the main thing is to try to teach them stewardship, management, like how to hold what you carry, and carry it well, because there is a wrong way to carry, believe it or not. So just that's my input on that, and I'm going back on mute.
Raven?
So as a parent, and this might be different from everybody else's conversation, but I believe your children will do none of what you say and everything what they see, right? And I believe that if you are the example, they will follow after the example. Before I got into business, before I became an entrepreneur, before I decided to take myself no matter where I was at in life, I worked at McDonald's. I had other little side jobs. I struggled. And my kids' aspirations were like, I want to be a McDonald's manager. My other daughter, like, I want to be just a regular LPN. And it was their dreams were different. And then 9 years ago, I took the journey of changing myself and doing something that was out of the box and started my own financial services firm. And as I did it, God started to change my children's mindset. I've watched one of my children go from I want to be a McDonald's manager to I want to own my own hotel chain and I want to have my own restaurant. I watched my other daughter, who is now actively in her own business, want to be a hairstylist. I watched my other daughter, who just wanted to just be a daycare teacher. Now she wants to be a daycare owner. I watched my other daughter, who just wanted to go to school for like LPN, something simple. Now she wants to be an attorney and have her own practice and then eventually become a judge. And I say that to say I didn't press upon them to have their own business. I didn't change their mind, but I changed me. And, when you work on yourself, you're working on your kids, unfortunately. People don't know that. People think I have to spend so much time focusing, building my children up. But the best way to build your children and to help them with generational wealth is to help yourself with those same mindsets. I heard a saying about 8 years ago, and it says children raised in mansions will never grow up and live in a trailer home. And the reason being, we've now given you accustomed to a lifestyle and a mindset and an environment that you can never go back to something that I've never raised you in. And this is why even the Bible says, train up a child where they should go, or when they get older, they should never depart. That's biblical, right? And what that scripture really means, people think it's just about the word of God, but that's also meaning values. It also means mindsets. It also means, heart postures. If I train you up in every single aspect, right? If I train you up in business, if I train you up in love, if I train you up in, with good character, if I train you up to think you a queen, if I train you up in the Bible, when you get older, even if you have a moment where you depart for a second, you shall never depart. Last thing I'm going to say is my father is a great example of that. I watched my mother struggle, working a 9 to 5 and barely making it and surviving. My father was an entrepreneur. And my father, by the time I was 10 years old, was making well over $400,000 or $500,000 a year, right? I didn't know how much he was making at the time, but we had a pretty decent life. So even though there was a period of my life where I struggled because I had kids early and life happened, but because I was raised up with a mentality in a household that this is what your life's supposed to look like, feel like, and be like, when I got older, I couldn't depart from that. And that entrepreneur mindset, that grit, that lion, that growl that was in me, that was embedded at childhood. My father calling me a CEO at 2 and telling me that you're going to be a millionaire one day. Eventually, that thing put in my belly and it grew up. And at 30 years old, I didn't know that thing was going to wake up and turn into a business. So even now, I'm watching God transfer my mindset and transfer things of elevation in my thinking. But it's just a beautiful process, because I think sometimes we believe it's about just telling a child, but it's about showing a child, because they're going to believe everything you do and none of what you say.
Yes. Listen, y'all see that? We gonna mess with Raven for a quick moment. Y'all notice that she did exactly what we do when we preaching. She started off and she ended the same exact way. They gonna listen to you. They gonna see you do it, and then they gonna do it. But if you're just talking to them, they don't do what you say do. I promise you, I've been fussing that bee for a while. Like, dude, I keep telling you, I keep telling you, I keep telling you, and then I thought about it. But I'm telling him to do something I'm not doing. One of the things I've always said is my child is gonna always see what I do, and I notice that he moves when I move. If I get up and start cleaning, B gonna get up and start cleaning. He's 25 years old now. He'll just start getting up like, wait, she moving, let me get moving. I had to learn that. When I started taking steps for my business and he started seeing me going to my next business that did not include him, he started building his own stuff. I could say that I have been telling him for a year, hey, you need to start your business. You need to start you something that's yours. Nothing happened. But as soon as I started moving, it was like, oh, well, she's moving without me. Let me go ahead and do this. Because they want to make sure that they are meeting the same standard as what they're used to. Which is why I had a focus. I had a plan when we were in that shelter. We are coming up out of here. We were in the shelter for 9 months. It's time to go. And I was not going back. I made him a promise we'll never be homeless again, and I kept it. But now it's on you. Never be homeless again. And now he knows that he can ask God for what he wants, make his list out, put his petition before God, and it's going to come to him. And all he has to do is work for it. So I want to ask you all this. In the process of getting to the millionaire status, first of all, let me ask this. Has anybody reached that status yet?
Not yet.
Okay. All
We're
right.
on the way.
On the way. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So working your way up, which is great because people get to see that we are not just coming into, oh, we made millionaire status, we're doing this, we're doing that, but you're actually learning more about what you need to do to get there, and you're working through it. So what we've done in the process of now is making sure that we are able to tell people how we got to where we are. So when we pour that stuff out, because I'm a believer that when you pour out your goods, God gave you to learn, people start to learn that he has to pour more into you and take you to your next level so you have more to pour out, because that's the way you stop things from being cut off. You're keeping it going. You're letting the people know that this is how you set it up, this is how you keep it going. Everything is not pay me to do it. I can teach you some things to get you started and not give you my whole business plan, and let you get started on your stuff and mentor you through without me exposing everything that God gave that was just for me. So in the process of going, my process, everything with me is, when it comes to generational wealth, is a process. So going on to your next, to build toward that million, what does that look like for you? If you're inside of a business, let's say you had no money to start up, you didn't need it, but it's a virtual administration. So let's go with that. If it's a virtual administration job, what can you do to start up? And anybody can jump in on this, but I want to say, first things first, get your name of your company. Don't go and say, I'm a virtual administrator and I don't have a company name. That looks tacky. I mean, any company that you talking about you starting, get a name for it. Start building from there. If you're gonna promote yourself, don't just promote yourself under your name. Put a LLC on the end. Put a ink on there. Make it look professional. It's not just I'm Tennille and I do administration. Because I'm gonna look at you sideways. I'm not gonna ask you to do nothing for me, because you didn't even take the time to put in the work to make you look decent. Something as easy as going online and signing up for an EIN and putting your name in play. That's your first step. Anybody else got anything? My panel was quiet. They like, whoa.
Okay, what was the question? I mean, it was thick. I'm trying to ask you a question. I was trying to decide.
What's the first thing to get started? Like, well, how do you get that started without having money to put into a business? Because most people don't have the cash to start.
It depends, and I must say it depends because um, it depends. I had a friend helped her start a business recently, and she didn't have the money to start either, but she has a passion for like pimping out like shoes and things of that nature, and so it required her to at least to have a first client, and to do it really really cheap for like 30-20 bucks, pimping these shoes out, which it was just worth like $200-300, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she had to get her publicity out there and get her name known before she could start really investing in it. I tell people all the time, you might have to, for the first year of your business, almost do it for free. And people are like, that makes no sense, but it does make sense, right? Sometimes maybe you have to make some cakes, and if you're a baker, bake some cakes. I'm gonna do it for free. If I am a business consultant, I'm gonna find some people that I can actually consult your business for free, get some success out of you, and then use you to go on Facebook to promote, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I do decorations for decorations or party decor or whatever, event planning. I'm gonna solicit some of my service for free for the first couple of months or the first year of my business to get my name out there, have some work and a portfolio. So now that when I start charging what I deserve, you'll go ahead and do that. If it's a shirt or a T-shirt, maybe I'm gonna take about $200 and purchase some shirts. And I'll start having people, hey, I'll give you the shirt for free if you wear it on Facebook. It's my influential. It's all about being creative. If you're a jewelry maker, hey, let me get some people that I know that rock clothing and rock jewelry or rock whatever. I'm gonna start having you wear my stuff and take pictures of it and then tag me in it and put my hey, this was provided by yada yada yada. You have to be creative, and I think a lot of times the first year is still for free. If in certain businesses at least. Because you have to get your name out there. You have to figure out how you differ. And the moment you get your credibility out there and your name out there, then you can start charging what you're worth. And now when your first client gets there, you're able to charge the $200 to $300 to $500 to $1,000 for that clientele because you built up a book of business and a portfolio from scratch. It's just testing the waters, testing your market out, trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Thank God what I started to do with my first business was not something I wanted to do. I'm going to be honest. It was not something I wanted to do. I think the Holy Ghost punked me into doing it. But it was crazy. I'm actually a life insurance agent, and I do investments for a living. And he pretty much told me one day as I'm doing this business and I was fighting it, he said, we get deliverance from everything. We deliverance from, demons and from, all these different things, but not our finances. We go to church on Sunday and we cry out, holy, holy, holy. But on Monday, he ain't the God of our finances. We're still crying about our bills not being paid and how we're struggling. He said, who's going to deliver us from that, And so I went into the industry paying $100-some to get into the industry. But it's taught me so much since I've been here, and it's allowed me to use money to start up other companies. And so sometimes even with that, maybe it's something that you're going to invest in initially, people are going to train you in, or a startup company or a marketing company, they're going to help you build other skills. You'll never know everything you've learned in your entire life will get you to a place of your own business. Even my non-for-profit, it started off as a women's social where we just talked and laughed about issues and women problems, and now we have whole conferences, right? It was free initially. Now I'm charging $300 a person. It was initially free. I just had a wine and crackers at my house, right? And we'll talk about our issues and what God was taking us and how we gonna heal. And then one day God said shift, right? Wow. Be intentional about the shift. I was okay, God, I shifted. Then it went to a retreat where I only charged $100, and we was giving out everything for free. It was like, I'll give you food and shelter in the house for $100 a person out of town. And then God said, shift again. I said, dadgummit. Now it's a conference for 200 people in a big city with big name people coming to preach. So it's all about starting off. Don't despise small beginnings, because the small beginnings will eventually, it's like a bow and arrow. God will pull you back for a season to launch you. So
Oh, that was real good. Listen, I want to say something about that. Like, I agree with you on that sometimes you have to get out there and do things for free. One of the things that I've learned, it depends on the company that you have, and sometimes you can adjust. Even if you are doing stuff on a free level, there's a way to do it where you don't use all your product. You don't have to put it out there where it's like overpowering you and you're not having income coming back in, because then you're struggling to get your next set of product to start over again. So like she said, if you're baking a cake, she said you may need to bake some cakes for free. I say take a cake, cut it up, make samples, put them out there, and show people what you can do it that way. Hand out samples of the cake. That way you have more people that are getting a taste of what you do, and they're learning more about you. Make sure your business cards is with everything that you can put out there. Get you a dot card. It costs $20 online, probably $25 after shipping. Put all your information on there and let these people tap their card and get your information, so you don't have to stop what you're doing as far as your sales go to get out there. If you're working on administration work, start to put together your own little packet, your business cards, your flyers. You can do any type of phone call work. You can let them know. I literally still do that. I have been in administration since I was 17 years old. That's been a long time, y'all, because I just sat here and counted and was like, wow, 29 years. So here I am now that I'm doing this, and I'm working towards, you can call me and still say, hey, I need these phone calls. I'm getting paid to do it, but it's just like, yo, well, you set me up to go ahead and get these calls made for you and get you set up for CPS contracts, or get you set up to take on photography work. But I have people who just don't do well when it comes to their business administrative wise. So they hire me and book me to take on their projects. So I'll sit and say, okay, well, I got you scheduled to work your job for 6 hours, and this is how much I'm gonna get paid for it. They pay me, and I make sure that I clock in and I clock out. I write everything down. I'm on the phone, and listen, all I'm using is my phone. All I'm using is social media to promote. All I'm using is word of mouth to promote. I haven't paid for anything. I'm now building money off of that. I now have money to put back in my business and make it more than what it is. I can start to promote myself with ads now if I want to on Facebook. But this is what I've been doing off and on for years. I'm now just using the platforms that we have. So yes, depending on what your business is, what is set up to be, you can keep going, because starting a radio station is not the easiest thing. People just, oh, you just start a podcast. Well, no, podcasts aren't easy like that. And I'm like, Lord, when people say that, I'm like, that's not true. Okay, you're not just starting a podcast. And the other thing is, this is not a podcast. Literally, it's a radio station. It's an online digital platform. It's not a podcast where I'm on somebody else's station. I run all of this. So I literally have to pay for airtime for people to be on. I'm paying for people to come on and actually advertise with us. That space. I'm paying for the software that we use. I'm paying for the equipment that we have to use. I pay for the internet. I said everything. All of that has to be paid for. And we do this out of pocket. So your business should also pay for itself. We know how. We have a plan right now to make sure that this business is paying for itself. We have sponsorships that come through, and those sponsors that have come on and helped us move forward. So yes, finding other people, and there's a need. Raven talked about, you find what the need is of the people. We actually had a conversation with KB the rapper, but I think he was with 1112 at 1112 Lord 112 at one time, and he's now on his own, doing his own thing. So we went to a KB and a Triple E concert, and we got a chance because we was in love with the music. So I did the executive part. I was like, it's his birthday, I'm gonna get him in so he can ask questions. And KB asked him about his business, so he starts to tell them about F2G. And he told him, oh, well, listen, you find out what the need is of the people. If you're looking for money, then don't do it. Do it because there's a need, and that you can serve that need. And when you start to do it that way, you depend on God, the money will come. Y'all, we started doing it that way, not looking at, man, we got to make this money, we got to get this, and sponsors started coming to us. We just want to point to what y'all doing. We just want to come on here and send you $500 to pay for this. Well, thank you, because that license costs $375. We appreciate that. I ain't got to pay for that. That's something else coming off. But the money that came in went right back into business. I'm trying to get out of my own pocket. So we had reoccurring sponsors that came every month and was putting money in, and that's how we ended up being able to get to the network and getting the network started. So focus in on the need. Make sure that you're providing a need for somebody else and not just your own. If you are a modeling or you're making jewelry, start being your own model. That's the way I started out. I was my own model. I would put stuff on and model myself, and I have people saying, people don't really do that anymore. I know, but I'm cute, so we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to get out here and model my own things and make sure that it's out there and people can see what I'm doing. Now I have my treasure models. They have come on, and these are people that were buying from me, and they wanted to earn extra jewelry. So the way that they earn it is to model. You put it on, you take pictures, you give it to me, and if we go out to events, you're walking the runway, you're walking around, you're presenting yourself, you're speaking on Tennille's Treasure Chest, you got it. And I'm going to make sure you get jewelry every month for free. And they still buy and still support the business like that. So yes, you want to get out there the best way you can, but there are some ways that you can do it without having money, and you don't have to always put all of your product out for free. So that was really good, Raven. Robert, what you got for me? Why do I feel like you got something?
To be honest, I'm taking all this in because I do agree with, like, you do have to find a need. You do have to find a need. And there's something I'm gonna talk to you offline, because there's a few things that I'm trying to plan out, just for myself alone. So, and I'm not really a radio person now like you are.
Okay.
But there's a call to do like a podcast for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. I mean, talk to me. I'll make sure I'll send you my information in your back channel here. What about you, Brian? What do you have?
I'm just soaking everything in, because it's there's more in me that I have, and I gotta. One of the things that I'm working on right now is coming from under like what other people have said about me, what I'll be able to do, what I'll only be able to do. And I'm really just praying to God, like, Lord, what is my next step? Like, I know there's more. I know I'm called to build generational wealth. I know by the end of this year, I will have keys to a house.
Come on.
Because I was like, Lord, I got this car so quick in February. I'm not going to stop here. Like, it's time for me to start owning. It's time for me to start building towards that. And also, it's time for me to start taking, me a little bit more seriously, believing in myself. And, this is all connecting to me having the desire to be married. I'm learning what I like, what I don't like. I'm learning what do I have a need for, or basically, what do I have a passion for that's going to serve a lot of people's needs. So that could be like a little ramp that I can use to create a business. Because it's like every time I look up, it's like, I don't know what direction. I don't know where to go. Yeah, I may have to talk to you offline too.
No problem. Listen, that's what we do. That's literally what we do. I've had people come to me, and it's so funny because me and Kelly talked about this, and I said, Kelly, it's so crazy. And I mean, my executive team, because it's my family, they know me. So I tell them all the time, it's so tripped out that God will allow me to be able to tell them even about their businesses. I've never been a beekeeper. I've never been interested in making honey. I've never been interested in making candles. But different stuff that God will download to me to tell them so that they can push their business. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I don't know what this means, but this is what I'm hearing. Or when you do that, do this, and this, and let's get it going. I am literally Kelly's marketing manager. And that was never the
business manager.
She keep throwing that in there. We've been having this argument for a year. but but listen, as her marketing manager, we
Business
oh
manager.
gosh, she is not gonna let that go. Okay, as her marketing and business manager, Lord, we we have been like pushing everything out for her. So whenever she has a new product or a new idea, we sit and we talk about it. And during the talk, y'all, half of the time that I'm talking to her, I'm letting them figure out. When I'm talking to them, I'm letting them figure out what they need to do. While we're talking, I ask the open end questions that's going to make you think about your business. The one thing that I found out for me was people telling me how to do my stuff did not help me. People telling me how I can get me to open up and understand my stuff helped me so much more. It's like teach a man to fish. I can't just give you your layout and say, here you go, go. But I can talk to you and help you figure it out. I might have a whole idea of how your business runs, but your mind is not my mind, and God might have another plan for you. So I can sit there and look at the basics of your business, and God will give me all of that. Like I can know nothing about the subject. He will give me the whole layout. And while I'm talking to you, you're starting to check off my list. Like, okay, he touched that. He went on this. She said this. She said that. Okay, now let's fill in those blanks. I see this, 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 and this. I don't know how that works. How does that work? And I will ask you just so you can write it down and figure it out. I mean, I made B do that pitch. We actually did it on Clubhouse, and it was so much fun. I had them doing their business pitches, gave them 20 minutes, which everybody and their mama know you don't get 20 minutes. I was waiting on Raven to go 20 minutes, but I let them do elevator pitches, 20-minute elevator pitches, just to get them, used to it and to see what would happen. So I had a slot open on the radio station. I offered it up, and I said, if you can give me a radio pitch, and that your pitch for your show is amazing, and we can work with it, I'll give you a slot. You don't have to pay for it, and I put it out on Clubhouse. You can get up here now, pitch it. If you win it, it's yours. And it just wasn't for my execs. I put it out for everybody that came on. They came on, and we had people pitching, and we were listening to the pitches. Let me tell y'all something. B got up there. That's my son. I've trained him. He got up there and failed miserably. It was so bad. And I called him out on everything. And Kelly was like, oh my gosh, that's your son. She's like sending me messages. Don't do him like that. No, this is life. I train my child so he knows what life is going to be like. There is no executive that's going to sit there and hold your hand. They're not. I was like, that was the saddest pitch. Do you even know what your show is going to be about? Do you know what you want to talk about? Are we winging this? Did you think about it? Like, or are you just doing this off the top of your head? And he was like, well, I didn't really think of it as much as I should have. Well, go back and you work on that. We got time. So I'm letting y'all go back and work on it again and then come back. We had about a few people that came back and did it again. And I had one young lady that I thought was amazing, but she wasn't ready. And she let me know right then she wasn't ready. I said, okay, so now I got to pick somebody else. He came back and pitched again. When I say amazing, he took them points and was like, boom, 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 boom. Hit that in 20 minutes and looked at me like, he came in where I was at, y'all. Now we on Clubhouse. And he looked me in my face and he said, did I do it? I said, you actually did. Now I'm happy. Let's go. So let's get Brando Radio. He come on every Thursday at 3 p.m. and he talking about business. He talking about life as be snow. He's talking about how he's getting throughout his day. And he has people on there that understand what he's going through and are now reaching out to him for business things for the younger generation. So I'm like, yep, let's go. Call me. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out what you need to do next. Because at this point, we need to make this happen. I went from that to having Kelly as a publicist who has me now in about 4 or 5 magazines because I've been doing interviews. So she has me out there doing this stuff. And what else am I doing, Kelly? Because Kelly has me doing a lot of stuff. She's trying to get us to do a TV show, y'all. But listen, pray for me.
And it's going to be happening. I'm just saying. That's what
y'all pray for me.
I do. When opportunities come from my client, it's going to happen.
Y'all pray for me. One of the things, if you ever start working with Kelly Webb and she becomes your publicist, head up. Don't say yes.
Don't you say that. Do you tell people that?
Don't say yes first. I want you to listen to her first. Be quiet.
I need you when you hire me to know that I have your best interest and your brand interest in the forefront of my mind at all times.
That's absolutely
true.
true.
And believe if stuff pop in my head in the middle of the night, I'm writing it down because I'm not calling a client, but I will email you, hey, this came up right here. I looked into this. Is it something you're interested in? This is why we have a whole consultation beforehand. So I know what you want, what you don't want, and what may be a maybe. And I'm going to work on that maybe and see if we can get that maybe to be a yes.
Listen.
When it needs to be.
Let me tell you, Raven, them eyes came up. Yes, ma'am. She will mess you up. Literally talking to me, and she was talking so fast. T. So, and I said, oh, yeah. And then I thought about it. Wait a minute. Did I just say yes? Hey, Kelly, what did you say? You already said yes. Oh, no. Wait a minute. What did I say yes to? What did I say?
Like that.
I was like, what did I say yes to? And she goes, oh, you're doing this interview. What was the magazine? Women? Was it Women? Women? It was, I wasn't ready.
Women Empowered.
Yes, Women Empowered. And I ended up doing 4 interviews. And I ended up on the spread of 4 interviews. Like, literally got them in there, pictures going. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Kelly.
That's my job, though. I'm a publicist.
And I've never done anything like that before, but it opened the door for me to be able to say, yep, this is cool, I can do this. Like, I'm used to being on the side where I interview other people. I've never been on the side where people were interviewing me. So for this side, it was like, okay. And she did good by me. She didn't play neither. They wasn't going to put no bogus pictures up. They wasn't going to be able to get past putting up wrong words, literally reading everything. If it didn't sound right to her, you know how people edit out some of the stuff you say. So when they edited, if the edit sound whack, she went back like, fix that. So I had a one for Sheen, and it was a lot, y'all, and I enjoy it. So thank you, Kelly, for being the way you are, you little bulldog. But still, in the process of all of that, be ready for it. So Raven, if you thinking about it, you be ready, because Lord have mercy.
Hey, Jay, you think you need a publicist, sweetie? Call me. What you trying to say? I'm nervous now. Wait, because see,
she need a publicist. She need a publicist.
Robert. She need a publicist.
Cause this is because a lot of Raven got so much in her.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much money in Raven. There's so much money in her pocket, and I feel like it's not. It is really untapped because there's something. And I really do feel like Raven. I really do feel like that you do need a publicist so you can actually get yesterday's woman out there for real, for real.
Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday's woman.
Mm-hmm. That's her. The conference that she was talking about.
Stuff because I was in the meeting.
Remember yesterday we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
The conference. The conference.
Was it the book or the conference?
The conference
in New York, right?
Yep.
The conference, New York. Yes.
And when is it, Raven?
So it's July 20th to the 22nd.
So if she signed on with you now, she got time, right? Uh-oh. Is that Kelly rattling? That is bad.
Okay, so this is my... Wait, where's my pen at? Why is she getting pinned? And then my brother threw me in the water.
Girl, he threw you under the bus and kicked you in the water.
Hush. Robert, you can't talk about hush. Raven.
Yo, you get so much.
Get on him later. Okay, so here go my question. If the event is... Are we still alive?
Yes, we are.
Is it okay?
Don't. Yeah, you can talk about it. Just watch what you say to her online.
Oh yeah, of course. That's why I needed to know if we were still alive.
Yep.
So okay, I'm gonna put the pen away because we're still alive. So I'll give you a little something without going full throttle, but we gonna talk when we clear. So if your event is, and this is just hypothetically speaking, if you want to have certain people know that you're having an event outside of just social media and what's the other thing called? Start with an E. Eventbrite and stuff like that. Making sure that it's in a public eye where the public is able to get hold of it is important. Making sure that you getting those interviews, making those different announcements hitting that area. You want to hit your market where your market is going to be able to reach. Does that make sense? I'm trying hard to watch what I'm saying, but my brain is running, so this is getting hard.
That's all right. We got like a minute before.
Talking to me, so I'm not sure what. No, I'm okay. Whatever you say to me is fine.
Yeah, I'm like, we got 1 minute and we finna clear. So let me go ahead and clear since we almost 1 minute out, and we can go ahead and get started on here and get it going. So give me one moment, y'all. Hold on 1 second. We gonna go ahead and clear this out today. We thank y'all so much for joining us on f2gradio.net. I am Tennille. I've been your host for today. It's been amazing talking to you about building generational wealth and talking to our amazing and awesome and talented entrepreneurial people. These people are reaching, y'all. I love this. Millionaires in the making are right here on our platform on Clubhouse. So we're excited to have Raven Esco on with us. We have Brian Bird on with us. We had Kelly Webb with us. We had Robert. Am I saying your last name right? Robert Balfour?
Yes, you're saying it right.
All right, Robert Balfour has been on with us. We want to make sure that you all know that we are here for you to help you boost your day and start up. There is no sad beginnings. You start your day with a smile. You start planning out your business. If all you can do is write down your thoughts, get those on paper. Get them out your head, because the more you keep them in there, the cluttered it gets. It starts to be more of a ball of yarn, and that you can't really unravel, than being a bunch of strings that you're now aligning up. So I need for you all to put that on paper. Get ready to get started. You already know what you have here with F2G. We will help you build your company. We have a publicist on site. We have operations managers. We have graphic design. We have business management. You are able to contact us. You can book us, and we will help you go to your next, okay? So before we get out of here, let it be known, I am a millionaire. Speak it into existence. I am a millionaire, and I will have multi-millions in my savings. Stop saying in your checking account. You spend from your checking. You save in your savings. Put that in there. Make sure you're saying that. Put it out in the atmosphere. Talk to God about it. Figure out how to do it. And we're going to have somebody. I have somebody really important coming on with us soon, y'all. And she is ready. When she broke down how to get to that million, oh, it was a mess and a half in that little meeting. I was like, yes, ma'am. So be on the lookout. We're going to be bringing her through, and I'll be able to introduce her. Y'all, we're going to make sure we put it out on the flyer first, so y'all know to come on in. Be ready and bring your notebooks. Let's get there. So before we get off, we're going to do our declarations. Isaiah 42:9. We will live in the old. We will not live in the old. We will live in the new. We will be anointed with fresh oil. We will walk in new strength. We will connect with new people. We will walk through new doors. Isaiah 1:19. We are willing and obedient, and we will eat the good of the land. Isaiah 2:5. We will walk in the light of the Lord. Isaiah 8:18. We are a sign and a wonder. Isaiah 9:4. Every yoke and burden is broken over our lives. So make it personal. Every yoke and burden is broken over my life. Now shake up hell and put your name out there, because when your name is attached to it, I'm just going to put that out like that. When your name is attached, every yoke and burden is broken over Tennille's life.
Every yoke and burden is broken over Kelly's life.
Every yoke and burden is broken over Raven's life.
Every yoke and burden is broken off of Robert's life.
Every yoke and burden is broken over Brian's life.
Come on here, y'all. We are making this thing happen. We got millionaires on this platform that's going to be walking into their millions this year. We all going to walk it out. Y'all going to see us on red carpets. Y'all going to see us on TV. Y'all going to see us in advertisement. You're going to see us on stages speaking to millions of people. Sold out communities. We are making sure that we build up our communities, so we want you to build up yours. Join us again. We are back with you on Monday, because today Friday, y'all. I must say tomorrow. We ain't back here tomorrow. Don't be listening to me. We are back on Monday, and we will be right back here with you, ready to tell our story. Make sure that if you have a prayer request, you are sending that prayer request to 872-253-9309. You text that to us, and we'll make sure that you get it. If you want to listen in on any of our previous conversations or interviews, you can go to patreon.com/F2G. Go ahead and subscribe. You pick your tier. You do what you need to do for you. We're going to make sure that every tier has something that you can benefit from. And if you have an idea for a show, that you want to be part of the F2G Network family, you can go ahead and send an email to info@F2G entertainment.com and put in your subject show proposal. Make sure you're breaking down what the show will be about, because I'm going to ask questions, y'all. I don't play about that. We're going to ask questions. We're going to pray to God. We're going to see what he say. And yes, we do decline people. If it's not fitting, it's not fitting. But if it is, it is. And we're going to make sure we keep it going. So we love you guys. We're going to go ahead and get clear on here. And then we're going to be back on Clubhouse. So if you want to hear the rest of this, jump on Clubhouse, because these people over here are funny.